Bunch of great games here for the divisional round. Bills, Broncos, 49ers, Seahawks, Texans, Patriots, Rams, Bears. I mean, wild card weekend. That might have been the best wild card weekend we've ever had. I think obviously everyone knew that Monday night game between the Steelers and the Texans was going to be a snoozer. But the Patriots, Reeves, I mean, they tried to choke against the Chargers. If Justin Herbert and the Chargers had anything, if they had an iota of seriousness about them, we actually could have seen another upset there. My guy Caleb Williams gets it done in the frozen tundra. How did the wild card weekend treat you?
It was solid. It was a lot of fun games. At least the first four were super fun. We almost needed that Patriots game to kind of be kind of just meandering, because I was so exhausted by the time we got to Sunday night after the first four games, man. I was spent.
I honestly, by the time we got to the Chargers game, I was like, ugh. I've been too emotionally invested in all of these games. Trevion Henderson was really bad in that game. I thought that was weird. Ramondre looks like Eric Dickerson since he came back from that injury, which is kind of surprising. Yeah, he's been on fire. But these four games, very interesting. Let's go ahead and begin with what I think is the most interesting game. The Buffalo Bills traveling to play at the Denver Broncos. We have the Broncos favored by 1.5, but this one has been it's been all over. I mean, it's just I guess kind of like the Packers Bears game last week, where it just kept flipping between who was favored. The Broncos are at home. It's going to be cold everywhere in the Midwestern United States, Great Plains, whatever you want to call it. This week, yeah, shocking. Who could have predicted that January in the Midwest / Great Plains?
Shocking that Massachusetts, Denver, and Chicago are cold in January.
There's just no way anyone could have.
Is it cold where you are right now?
Oh, it's very cold.
Yeah, dude, it's like 15 degrees outside, man.
Yeah, it's like 20 degrees outside right now, but it also is very windy, which makes it like doubly miserable, which is not particularly fun.
You take the dogs out.
Look, man, I have a 18-month-old golden retriever. She does not give a single hoot, brother. She's like, I love this, man. Let's be outside more. Let's just hang out here. She's born for it. So the Bills are now down Tyrell Shavers. They're now down Gabe Davis. They are probably they're almost for certain gonna activate Curtis Samuel. And I believe I need to double check there are lads, but I believe they can also activate one Mr. Super Bowl winner himself, McCole Hardman. So that's where we're at with the Buffalo Bills. Now, all that being said, they have Josh Allen. And that was our argument last week, right? That was our argument in that game last week. He's like, well, Jaguars probably better defense, way better wide receiver. Well, they got Josh Allen. Now, did the Jags do everything they could to kind of hand that game? They did, in the sense of they had, 8 rushes for 99 yards, and then they just stopped calling runs entirely. I mean, the run defense was as bad as we said. They got the ball back with a chance to win the game, and Trevor Lawrence immediately threw an interception. Bills, Broncos, Reeves, what do we got?
Yeah, Jags had that 4th down call that was like absolutely massive, where Trevor Lawrence slid instead of just kind of like staying on his feet. Like,
yep.
Yeah, and that was kind of a big swing play in that game, because the Jags could have went up 14-3 at that point, and kind of that was a real big turning point. But hey, Buffalo Bills, this is what happens when you have the experienced team, right? Like you end up making those plays. You get the turnovers. The ghost of Tre'Davious White shows up and makes some plays. We've got these two teams on Saturday too, short week games. Both teams like really banged up that played last week, both the 49ers and the Bills. Bills won't have Maxwell Harrison still. Jordan Poyer left last week's game and has been ruled out. His replacement was a rookie, Jordan Hancock, who came in and immediately gave up the most yards in the secondary. So I didn't see if they brought up DeMar Hamlin or Darnell Savage. I actually didn't track that today to see like who was going to be playing, but I imagine Hancock won't play as many snaps as he had to play last week. But they are a little bit beat up on the back end of the Buffalo Bills. It looks like they might get Ed Oliver back at least too, so like just show up the interior. But it just comes down to like this game looks very eerily similar to like last year's Super Bowl on paper, but it's like the Bills still have Josh Allen, right? Like, and that's kind of where we are and kind of where it all starts is, the Buffalo Bills. We can get into some specifics of the matchups, but like that's still like the one X factor here is when you look at the Broncos, it's like, man, this is like a better team, 1 through 53, than the Buffalo Bills, but number 1 is still better on the Buffalo Bills side.
How far would you have to get down the Bills roster to where you started to take, so like second best Broncos player, fifth best Broncos player? Like how far would we have to get till we found a blue chip player? I'm trying to.
Well,
I
we would
mean,
have offensive linemen like Deion Dawkins would be
yes, yes.
like
Well, the Broncos offensive line is pretty strong as well. I
Mhm.
mean, you take James Cook over RJ Harvey.
Easy,
Um, Now you definitely take Sutton over Shakir. I guess
100%.
you take Troy Franklin though. You take Shakir over Franklin. But then that would be it. No other Bills wide receiver would even make the roster, right? Like
No, not wide receiver.
yeah.
We'd get Kincaid involved though.
Yeah, I mean, look, Kincaid versus Troutman. That one's pretty close.
Well,
I
Kincaid is
guess
new Evan Ingram. Like, it's funny is like they're the same archetype of guy. Like they don't block, they don't play in the run game. That's why they only play 50% of snaps.
yeah, they are going to need Kincaid this week, which I think is not a good spot to be in. Like anything, I feels like anything they get from Kincaid is kind of a bonus, but they're going to need his passing game production this week because I just think the preponderance of evidence would suggest you can't build a passing offense around Khalil Shakir, and I particularly don't think you can do it against this defense. Now, Reeves, I mean, obviously you would know better than this than me, but Surtain doesn't go in the slot a ton, correct? I guess he does sometimes, but it almost feels like you would be wasting Pat Surtain in
Yes.
this game to be like, hey man, why don't you just go cover Keon Coleman? Like it feels like a literal waste. So maybe he would go into the slot a little bit on this game just to be like, well, I am going to guard Shakir because what else am I even doing out here? I don't know. I don't have a great sense for that.
No, I think they're just gonna play kind of their scheme. You don't really need Surtain to go shadow anybody, and you're not gonna use him to, or you're not gonna go out of your way any team to specifically try to isolate slowing down Khalil Shakir at the types of
Right,
targets he gets
exactly.
because you don't
Yeah.
care. I mean, 40% of Shakir's targets are at or behind the line of scrimmage. It's the highest rate for any wide receiver in the NFL. Like you're not adjusting your scheme to prevent like pop passes, dude. Like and stuff at the line of scrimmage. Just not what you're doing. He averaged 1.8 air yards per target last week. I mean, this guy had 82 yards on 12 catches. It took him 12 catches to get the 82 yards. That's like where the Buffalo Bills are right now, offensively with the state of their pass catchers. This game is really going to be predicated on, if they can have success running the football, which I do believe they can have some success because the size of their offensive line, but it is a tougher matchup still on paper. It's not like Denver. This is the first big offensive line Denver's faced. Obviously people going back to last year's playoff game. But if if this game turns into a drop back game like last week, we were more confident in the Bills dropping back last week.
Dude,
against the Jaguars.
if this turns into a drop back game,
Yeah.
the Denver Broncos are too good, man.
Yep.
4.8 net adjusted yards per attempt allowed. That is like a standard deviation better than every other team in the league. That is a full yard per attempt better than the 11th best passing defense in the NFL. I mean, compare that. Like, it's half a yard better than the Bills, who have a very good passing defense. I mean, that's how much better it is. Again, not to say they can't do it. I firmly believe the Buffalo Bills can totally win this game, but in a very paradoxical way, Reeves, it does feel like their best strategy is to kind of keep the ball out of Josh Allen's hands, is to like kind of let him do his magic on third downs and things, but to do a lot of James Cook, like a lot of like just kind of trying to hold the ball. I don't know. I mean, if I got hired as a consultant this week, I don't even know what I'd tell them to say. I guess I would say, I don't know. What does Josh want to do? Do whatever he wants to do and just live by the Josh, die by the Josh, I guess. Like, what would you even tell them to do?
I mean, they're going to do their thing that they always do. Joe Brady, they're going to try to come out and run the football, man. Like they're going to try to, play balance, try to play ahead of the sticks and try to stay like third and manageable so they can throw those underneath passes to Kincaid, to Dawson Knox, to Khalil Shakir. If they're in long down and distance, like this is going to be a nightmare for them because we've seen this year, this Buffalo Bills team, when you can get a pass rush on this Buffalo Bills team, like this is their one kryptonite. It's a lot of people's kryptonite in the NFL, right? Like being able to get home, especially with 4. But look at the Eagles game, the Week 5 Patriots game, the Texans game, and the Browns game. People forget this team almost lost to Shedeur Sanders like a few weeks ago. All of those teams were able to get a pressure rate of 40% or higher on Josh Allen on non-blitzes. Like that, this is the key. Like it's the same thing we saw in the Mahomes Super Bowl. Like we've seen it. Like if you can get home at 4, like that's a tried and truism. They're in the future version 200 years from now of football. If you can still get home at 4, it's gonna be good for your defense, especially when you can play the pass as well as the Denver Broncos can. So this is the key to the game. The Buffalo Bills being able to run the football in this game, being able to keep it third and manageable, and the Denver Broncos being able to kind of put them behind the sticks and kind of be able to get pressure with 4. This is like the state of this game, because anytime we've seen teams do this against Buffalo Bills this year, this is where they've had like their largest issues offensively.
Yeah, I suppose that is true. And then I guess on the Broncos side of the ball, the thing that I would be concerned about for them would be what happens if they do get in a hole. Like, let's just say, the couple poor bounces of the ball, punt return for the Bills, fumble, whatever. Like if they're down 14-3, right? What does the Broncos offensive game plan become? Because I don't you just never love Bo Nix and let's drop back 47 times and figure it out. Now, to Bo Nix's credit, I've said that about Bo Nix before, this season, and he's generated a couple nice ones. I believe he had the biggest comeback in the NFL this season in the 33-32 win against the New York Giants at home. But I don't know. I guess at the end of the day,
no, and it comes down to it always, like, because you want to say on paper, like, man, like the Broncos win this game, like your heart tells you, or your brain, your heart tells you, like, hey, Broncos, all this stuff is, and your brain's just like, it's Bo Nix versus Josh Allen, like, like it's like still hard to get over that mental hurdle. Like,
it is hard to get over that mental hurdle. Now, I suppose it's hard to say. But Josh did get really banged up last week, according to him and according to the team. Now, Josh does have a little bit of that Mahomes thing where he does kind of always get up and do his little limp and flop. I mean, look, I love Patrick Mahomes. He is the number one offender of this, where like it always looks like he is getting smoked when he's probably fine. Now, obviously, if
this is LeBron's fault, by the way, I blame LeBron for this.
Yeah, I mean, look, it probably is LeBron's fault. End of the day,
LeBron. No one's checked their nose for a bloody nose like LeBron's checked his. Like he's checked his nose 400,000 times in his NBA career, and it's never been bleeding once. It's like every star now is just like tries to get calls.
End of the day, like if we were doing these how we normally did, if we did these 4 out of 4, this would be my 4. This would be my hardest one to take. I'm taking the Buffalo Bills. With my own good, sweet US dollars, I'm betting on the Bills winning this game. I'm betting on a mistake. Now, I guess a thing we didn't talk about that we maybe should have is like coaching edge to me is definitely the Broncos. Joe Brady is, he just feels like he's really bad. Honestly, it just feels like he is not a particularly good NFL coach, and Sean Payton is very good.
Yeah, I think Sean McDermott gets a bad rap because I think defensively he still is a really good defensive coach. And we saw it again last week. He hit, post snap disguise on Trevor Lawrence on 2 of those interceptions. Trevor Lawrence definitely made the wrong read because what he thought he saw wasn't there. So I think McDermott gets a bad rap for his defensive stuff, but he's like McVay though, in a sense, like his like actual time management stuff is terrible. I mean, they shouldn't have scored as fast as they did after the Josh Allen review that was overturned. Like they scored the very next play and gave the Jaguars almost 2 minutes. Like it was just like mismanagement. This is always the thing we talk about, like Shanahan, McVay, like these guys are literal geniuses when it comes to
literal
play calling and play design. Yeah. Like they've just never played a game of Madden. Like this, like it's like, come on, guys. Like I think Kyle Shanahan's literally cost himself 2 Super Bowls just because he doesn't, know how to manage games and timeouts. And McVay's probably cost himself at least 1. So yeah, that's kind of the one thing. But yeah, I'm with you. It's just, I think the best bet in this game is first half under. I think if you ask me for like my absolute best bet in this game, it'd be first half under. Like that's the way I would play this game. You're money lining either team you're taking. Like you're not playing.
For sure.
It's a point and a half. We almost got the second time in history the number one seed being a dog, because it opened as Bills and then it flung back with kind of some of their injuries, but it would have been the second time ever. The Nick Foles Eagles were dogs as a number one seed that year that Wentz got hurt late in the year.
That's true. That's true.
That was it though, but we almost had it again. But this Broncos team too, like as good as they are, like we've seen them all year, like they don't have a lot of quality wins, man. Like the Packers are probably the best game. Like we saw Bo Nix play in the second half of that game, maybe that fourth quarter, the first Chiefs game, like when Mahomes was playing. But like this team, like barely beat the Raiders on a Thursday night game. Like they barely beat the Jets in London. They needed that comeback that you said it was against the Giants. Like they lost to Herbert early in the season. Like they got smoked at home by Trevor Lawrence. Like they don't have a lot of impressive wins on the resume either. So I expect this game to be kind of tight, low scoring. But that's why I like first half under.
All right. I love it. Let's go now to a game that feels like, frankly, to me, Reeves, too many points. The San Francisco 49ers traveling to play at the Seattle Seahawks. No George Kittle for the 49ers. No Fred Warner. There was a rumor he was going to be back for this game. He's not going to be playing. But Trent Williams did not play in the Week 18 game between these two teams. Trent Williams will be playing in
Pearsall looks like he's playing.
Pearsall looks like he's going to be back as well. 7 points is the most common line. You can get 7.5 if you use. It looks like 7.5 actually is decently common out there, depending on which side you want. Seahawks 49ers. Reeves, set the table here.
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for kind of larger upsets in the divisional round, they don't happen very often. I mean, underdogs getting 7 or more points in this round of the playoffs are 13-32 since the NFL went to 32 teams. They are 26-18-1 against the spread, though, so they do cover these large lines a lot. This game is kind of weird, though, because the 49ers are on a short week against the Seahawks team that, has 13 days of rest. Like it's a massive rest advantage for them. They had a big rest advantage in the last time these teams played. In this round of the playoffs, teams at this much rest edge are 7-0 to this point. It's a real tough spot again for the 49ers. They need to muck it up like last week. We said last week if they were going to win, and both of us picked the Eagles, but we said if the 49ers had a shot, it was going to be because the Eagles would meander their way through. And
boy, did they meander. Boy, did they meander.
So that's kind of the out. The 49ers found a way to hold this team to 13 points in that Week 18 game still. The 2 lowest scoring games the Seahawks have had this year have been the 49ers. So like maybe that is like a way to avenue. But like that last game, like in Week 18, the Seahawks outgained them 361-173. They went for a 4th down in the opening drive, didn't get it. They missed 2 kicks. They only punted 1 time. So it's hard to bank on like those things happening again. I still think the Seattle team is still too good in terms of, complementary football. Remember, this is the team that's the most special teams touchdowns too in the NFL. They're great. They're good enough offensively. They're great defensively. They're great special teams. And this 49ers defense still is a big time question mark. Stopping the run, stopping the pass. It's kind of hard to really back them outside of just saying like, man, how can they keep, it's like this and the Bears. It's just like, can they keep pulling the magic, right? Can you just keep finding the magic? But the points feel like a lot to lay though.
The points feel like a lot to lay. I mean, spoiler alert, I'm taking the 49ers here. And I'm taking the 49ers for a couple of reasons. First being, I can totally tell myself like a relatively no questions asked Seahawks victory where like Darnold isn't asked to do too much. They're able to run efficiently, all that stuff. And the 49ers end up covering at the end. The other is that I think it's very hard to own Kyle Shanahan multiple times. I mean, you see these examples all the time of Shanahan the first time against someone maybe getting handled a little bit and then coming back with like much more strong wrinkles. I mean, Brock Purdy, 3rd in the NFL this year in adjusted EPA per play. Sam Darnold down at 9th, almost a full 10th of a point. Purdy is better. How often do you get the better quarterback per the data getting an entire touchdown? Doesn't happen all that often. And I think that the Seahawks are like if I was betting the money line in this game, I probably I would take the Seahawks. The Seahawks, I guess the interesting thing is I wonder how well set up the Seahawks are in more of a playoff setting, like full effort and stuff, to take advantage of just how bad the 49ers defense is, because they are not a particularly good running team, and they run a lot, right? I mean, that's the interesting thing, is they run a lot to set up all their play action stuff. But the Seattle Seahawks, 26th in the NFL in expected points added via the rush, right? Worse than like the Panthers. You just would not think that
But
they
they
would be one of
closed
these
on
teams.
fire.
Yeah, yeah. And
I mean, the last 3 weeks of the season, this team ran for 180 on the 49ers in week 18. The week before that, they ran for 163 in Carolina. And the week before that, they ran for 171 against the Rams. Like Charbonnet, who we kind of dunked on the front half of the year. A lot of people were just like, hey, why is this split this way? We got one guy outperforming this other guy to a high degree. And Charbonnet's actually been really efficient the back half of the year. Both guys have. They've actually reined in Sam Darnold a ton. If you look at like the past 7 games, well, through 11 games, he was number 1 in the NFL in yards or pass attempt. He was like number 4 in deep ball rate, number 2 in air yards or pass attempt, and everything's like gotten condensed. It's, I think, like 2 factors. One, teams adjusted to just Jackson Smith and Jigba just cooking them downfield. They're like, this can't happen. They've got one guy. And then also the byproduct too, I think, of Clint Kubiak and Mike McDonald, like internally saying like, hey, look at our team right now. Like we've started to establish the run. Our defense is dominant. Like, we cannot have this guy lose us games. And we've seen now over the past 6 games, he's had his lowest deep ball target rate. His 6 lowest games are in each of the past 6 weeks. He's 27th and throws 10 or more yards downfield the past 7 weeks. He was 2nd in the NFL prior. He has the lowest deep ball rate in the NFL over the past 6 weeks. So it's like they've reined him in a lot. And this 49ers defense, this is how they want to play with all their injuries under Robert Saleh. They want to play like a lot of quarters, a lot of umbrella coverage. They want you to throw underneath. They give up a high completion rate, but their whole deal is just predicated on not giving up one play drives. And that's kind of like where Seattle started to operate. So they're going to be able to run the football in this game, I believe. I mean, the 49ers have been absolutely dreadful slowing down any outside zone run the entire season, especially since Micah Williams has been out. And this version of Darnold has just been, they've just been asking to be a care protector. They've literally internally said, like, dude, like, do not lose us these games right now. Because his interception rate over that span has basically been chopped in half because he's making high success rate throws.
Yeah. I mean, the 49ers have just given up. They gave up 307 yards against the Eagles in that win, 361 to the Seahawks, 440 to the Bears, 312 to the Colts, 306 to the Titans, including 136 rushing yards in that game against the Titans. Like it does just get to the point where you have like all these cluster injuries, and it's just like, all right, man, we're down to, and they have no running back who can cover. No linebackers who can cover in the passing game. So could see like a little bit of extra Charbonnet stuff here. Again, I know, you can have a lot of theories, and you can think about this and you can think about that, and you could take all the data and you do that. It comes down to me, 7.5 points, Darnold over Purdy. It's too much. I'm taking my guy. I'm taking Purdy plus 7 here. Obviously 7.5 if you can get it. But I'm on for the spread stuff, I'm taking the 49ers, Rich.
Yeah, if you made me choose a side on the line, I would definitely take the points unless you're doing some kind of tease with the Seahawks. This is another game. I like the under. I like the first half under a lot in this game too as well. I hope, like I said, I think the football is still gonna be fun even if we don't score points. But I do think that this game also sets up for an under. Purdy has faced Mike McDonald 5 times, and the 49ers have scored more than 19 points in one of those games. Like, this game feels like like the 49ers need this to be a fist fight. Like, they need this game to be in the teens.
Well, what they actually need is they need seeing Ghost Darnold. I mean, that's how it stays
in the teens.
Yeah, that's it. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess, or Darnold is throwing pick sixes, or whatever.
It's just so hard. This 49ers defense just doesn't get sacks. They don't get to the quarterback. They don't create turnovers. Like, they literally, their whole philosophy is just bend but don't break. Just try not to break.
Try not to break. We'll see. We'll see if they can be unbroken by Sam Darnold. All right, the Houston Texans traveling to play at cold, snowy Foxborough. If they were playing any team other than the Steelers last week, did they lose like 28-0, the Texans? I mean, what happened to CJ Stroud, man? What happened? I have no explanatory variable for what has happened to CJ Stroud since his rookie year. But yeah, I mean, he was awful in that game. They won. Shout out to them. Aaron Rodgers, really poor stuff from Rodgers, all of the Texans defense. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I mean, the Patriots tried to choke that game against the Chargers. May did not look good. May did not look confident. Will Campbell, dude, poor Will Campbell was just getting bullied in that game. Gonna be no rest for the wicked for Will Campbell in this spot against this Texans defensive line. Patriots, Texans, Reeves. What do you got?
Yeah, this one is another one that seems like a rock fight a little bit, especially with
Oh
no
yeah,
Nico, with no Nico Collins
no
either
Nico Collins.
on the Texan side. Because the one thing is the Texans aren't going to be able to run the ball like they did last week. I mean, they literally had their best rushing performance in a game since the Baltimore game, which was like week 4 or 5. That's when they ran them for the most yards. Woody Marks first time going over 100 yards all year. Like you're not lining up and running on the New England Patriots. One of the stats I pulled for the prop stuff is with Milton Williams on the field, the Patriots have faced 123 running back runs, and they've allowed one run of 13 or more yards on those 123 runs this season. They'd only allowed 3.4 yards per carry on those runs. I mean, he's not going to play every single snap of the game, but they're not going to line up and run the football with Milton Williams back, Splain coming back last week. I think Tonga might come back and play this week too. So Patriots are back. I think the Patriots defense gets a little bit overlooked. I think this is a really well-built team. I think they're playing a lot of really good complementary football the back half of the year. Early in the season, a lot was put on Drake May, and then the run game started to come around. The defense, I think, has been underrated because they invested a ton into the defense. They've got a lot of good personnel on defense, and then this Houston defense is awesome in its own right, one of the best in the NFL, if not the best in the NFL. So this game sets up to, I think, be another, like I said, another fist fight. So another one that's going to be probably low and tight.
Yeah. I mean, Woody Marks was able to find a little bit of success on the ground last week. I would be pretty stunned if he was able to replicate that here. I mean, it feels like probably the best path for either team is the opposing quarterback making some mistakes. Like, the whole idea with the Texans is if CJ Stroud is just able to take care of the ball, make good decisions on third down, avoid getting sacked, avoid turning the ball over, like they can, basically just kind of like sleepwalk to the Super Bowl because the defense is that good. And the defense really is that good.
Yeah.
By the way, like,
and they're going to be real good here against this offensive line. Like this is the biggest mismatch of the game is Pat's O line versus Houston's D line.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty insane. If we look
and May, and that's the key, like, right? Like, because May is a quarterback I like to refer to these guys. Like, he's a big game hunter. Caleb is like this too. He holds the ball because he wants to press the ball vertically. Like this is, I mean, he's 28th in the NFL in time to throw. He's thrown the ball within 2.5 seconds of snap 35% of the time. It's 31st in the NFL. He will run a little bit, and Houston will give up rushing production. But when you hold the ball longer than 2.5 seconds against the Houston Texans, I mean, they have allowed a 46% completion rate, 6.7 yards per pass. They have a 15% sack rate. And this is like all of May's mistakes come when he does try to do this big game hunting. He has a 25% sack rate under pressure. He has a 14% sack rate when holding the ball over 2.5 seconds. It's 27th in the NFL. Like they're going to have to find some quick game in this passing game. Like the way structurally the Patriots have played offense this year is not going to work here, right? Like it's not, they're going to get man coverage, but like they're not going to be able to hold the ball close to 3 seconds and just take shot plays.
So the Houston Texans have generated 48 expected points via their passing defense. That is 20 points better than the Cleveland Browns, who are second. There are only 7 teams who have positive expected points on defense, on passing defense in general. So compared to the New England Patriots, for example, the Patriots all season 9 negative points, which is like still like the negative expected points on defense is -9 is not really that bad in this game because passing is just more likely to add EPA than rushing. But they have allowed 4.6 net adjusted yards per attempt. they are, I mean, they've allowed a 76 passer rating. Like it's actually insane how good the Houston Texans passing defense has been. And it's not like their run defense is poor either. Now, I do think McDaniel is going to have some cool stuff cooked up here. It'll be a lot of screens. You know what? I bet we see like a lot of like Ramondre screen type things. Something I'm worried about with the Patriots, and I'm also worried about this with the Texans too, because they don't have Nico, is they don't really have very many, they have like no advantage creators. Like I guess Diggs kind of at his peak is, but Diggs has not been able to access that a ton this year. Diggs has been good, but Diggs has not been, peak Bills, peak of his powers, Stephon Diggs at all. I guess, I mean, I don't know. What do you think the Texans play Noel? Do you to try and find like a little bit of juice, or is it really
No,
just going
they
to be
already showed
Christian
us
Kirk?
last week. They already showed us last week that they weren't going to play either of the rookies if they didn't have to. And then when Nico went out, like Jaden is the backup for that role. But they were literally going to roll out just Nico, Christian Kirk, and Xavier Hutchinson. Like that was it. Like they weren't going to trust those guys. So yeah, and then I saw someone in the chat talk about James Cook having his best game of the season as Patriots. That was with no Milton Williams or Robert Spillane in that second Bills game.
Yeah. And James Cook is not Woody Marks. I know Woody Marks had a good game last week, so everyone's loving him. But come on. Woody Marks ain't James Cook. Yeah. It could be a
to be
bunch
fair,
of Kirk.
the Texans do have a good receiving core in terms of talent behind Nico Collins. Like it's
For
still
sure.
a good, like the Bills would kill for this group. Like we talked about the Bills a minute ago. The Bills had these guys.
Oh my God, Christian Kirk on the Bills. Can you imagine, dude? If Jaden Higgins was on the Bills this year, I mean, he would have just been hooping. He would have been having a phenomenal time.
We would
Against these dudes.
have all been walking the Bills straight to the Super Bowl, man.
Yeah, no, straight. I mean, straight up, 100%.
But to me, the key to this game is Drake May Drake May playing clean football. Like Drake May playing clean football is the key here, because like he will hold the ball and he will turn the ball over and take sacks, like those negative plays. Like that's the key, man.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, I think I mean this game is set up tremendous, like to be like tremendously like a really good like game that probably doesn't have a lot of touchdowns, but it's like one of those like good playoff games.
Really good playoff game. High stakes. Honestly, probably gets decided by like a really phenomenal defensive play. Like not even like a huge quarterback error, but like some degree of error. A strip sack, a really unlikely interception. Like, Stroud sees it half second too late. The ball's already out of his hand. I'm worried for my dude, Drake May. I'm worried for my guy. Dude, do you think it was just the Chargers defense was really good, or do you think it was a little bit of the moment getting to him last week? Because he was pretty bad.
Maybe both, but I don't even know if I wouldn't even say he was really bad. Like the Patriots had 381 yards. That was the second most the Chargers allowed all season. Like, and Drake May had the second most passing yards the Chargers allowed all season.
Well,
so
Ramondre Stevenson had a 65-yard broken play, which changes the whole.
Well, again, we can go up and down the list.
That's true. That's true. You can always be like, well, this play.
If that happens, you remove this play. Like, I get that.
I guess I'm being a little bit.
County through to Hunter Henry was like a legit.
That was like yes, that was like wow. Wow,
well,
like no one makes that throw.
But the reason we were more confident in the Patriots last week was because the Patriots have no longer had to build the plane out of Drake May. The back half of the year, the defense has continuously gotten better and healthier, and then the run game has gotten better as the season went on. Now, I don't think they're going to be able to run the ball here, though, is the problem. So a little bit more onus does fall on him here, because I don't think they're going to line up and run the ball on the Texans. Like their offensive line is not going to move them around. Like we thought they were going to run the ball a little bit against the Chargers. So, but that's why we were a little more confident. Is the Patriots can win games. Like early in the season, they don't win that game last Sunday night, early in the season, because they were so reliant on Drake May early in the season. But that's just not had to be their MO, and they might not have to be here, depending if the Texans offense just can't muster up enough production themselves.
100%. Um, all that being said, and it was a lot, I ultimately am going to take the Patriots because I do think the absence of Nico Collins is massive. Because how many times this year have the Texans looked kind of dead to rights or just looked really kind of ambivalent, stuck in the mud? And then CJ Stroud goes big game hunting. What happens? Bang, Nico Collins, huge play down the field, 50-yarder, like kind of out of nothing. And now that is going to be Jaden Higgins, who, look, I like Jaden Higgins. Think Jaden Higgins is a good player. He's not Nico Collins. I'm taking the Patriots, and I think the cold weather stuff slightly benefits the Patriots as well.
This one's tough. If you can get it with the hook in places, I might lean towards taking the 3.5 if you can get the hook. This is another game that's probably slow. Another maybe like first half under live line. If it stays at 3, I would be okay laying the 3. It's the game I have the least lean on, though. I would out of the 3 games we covered, this game is the one I have like the least amount of lean on.
I think that seems fair. I mean, I think these are the closest matched teams.
And I say this, I think whatever team wins this game has a real good chance of beating the other team that wins the first game we talked about.
Yes. Yeah, I completely agree on that because the Bills are just such an incomplete team, and again, the Bo Nix thing for the Broncos. No disrespect if you're a Broncos fan. We're not intending to be disrespectful. It just is what it is. Reeves, this is what I think is going to be the best game. I think this is going to be an absolute banger. By the way, huge shout out to the NFL. I honestly do not remember them ever doing this. Moving Sunday Night Football up to 5:30. I mean, how sick is not having to wait till
it always
7
is this
p.m.
round. It always is this round. Yeah,
okay,
it's always 3. Right. It's always like 3 and 6 East Coast.
Super shout out. Yeah. This is like amazing. I'm going to be in bed, cozy little guy at 8:00 Central Time. I mean, just incredible to be able to not have to stay up late for this game. Rams Bears. The Rams are pretty significant road favorites. Now, I believe there's been a smidgen of movement on nope, actually I'm wrong. Does not look like there's been any movement on this one at all. I remembered it opening a little bit greater, but it doesn't look like it has. So the deal with this game, it's going to be cold. We're talking like -10-degree wind chill probably for this Bears Rams game. If you've never been to Soldier Field, Reeves, you ever been to a game at Soldier Field?
I have not.
Okay. So I've been to a December game at Soldier Field. I actually was at Jimmy Garoppolo's first career start on the road at the Bears. Just kind of one of those funny things that happened. So not only is Chicago very cold, right? I think it's going to be 10 degrees, like actual temperature, but Chicago is very windy due to the way the city is built, literally right next to a lake. Soldier Field itself is like more or less on the lake. Like if you were at the top of Soldier Field, you could throw a
I've
golf
been in the
ball.
area. I've been to the area where it's at.
So it's very cold. It's very windy. You probably have all the good stats on Stafford and these guys in the cold. Just before we get into any of it, like, is it cold enough to you to like care about that to any significant degree?
Not unless we get like wind and stuff. Wind and precipitation is what we're going to care about more if we hit it. I mean, listen, the last time we saw the Rams in the playoff games last year, like Stafford threw for 300 yards in a blizzard in Philadelphia, like a much better defense.
Yep.
He actually has a strong history of going over. His last time he played in under 20-degree weather, he actually threw for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. And I'm not going to go back and pull we don't need to pull stuff from like 2016 and 2017 to say like that has like implication on this game as well either. But home underdogs in this round of the playoffs historically have been good bets, at least to cover. So I mean, there's a lot of signal for the Bears in that regard if you're just betting the home underdog. I mean, this Bears team now, like even Ben Johnson gave us a signal last week, like it's an unserious operation on defense. Like, and Ben Johnson knows it. Like, you don't go for fourth and four on your own 28-yard line in the first half of games, and you're just not going to have a good chance to stop the opposition. What I think really hurts the Bears here is the Rams, I think, have carte blanche to play however style of football they want, and the Bears are just in a real bind, especially with the loss of TJ Edwards. So what I mean by this is, so if the last week we talked about the Rams going away from their 13 personnel and dropping their play action, because of the way Jairo Rivero plays defense and the way they changed their windows after the snap. And they did. They ran their lowest play action rate of the season. They ran their highest rate 11 personnel since the last time they played Carolina. This week, I think we're going to see them go back to a lot more of the heavy 13 personnel, especially with this loss of TJ Edwards, who is the Bears' best dual purpose defender in the pass and run game. So the Bears, when they placed multiple tight end sets this year, they actually play nickel defense at the second highest rate behind the Seahawks, who have Nick Manowari, who's like literally a queen piece on the chessboard, allows you that kind of luxury. So if the Bears are going to play nickel against the heavy personnel, they're just going to run on them. The Rams are just going to run on them. And if they want to play heavy, they're just going to play action to death. The Bears are one of the worst defenses in the NFL against play action this season. We saw LaFleur pick them apart with Jordan Love last week. So it's like that, just being that quandary and that loss of TJ Edwards, I think puts this defense in just such a bind, because McVay's able to do kind of whatever he wants out of that. And then like, you just can't just keep winning games where you just have to come back in the fourth quarter. Like, this is not sustainable football. We didn't talk about this with the Broncos, because the Broncos have been doing the same thing, on a different level. But like, you just can't do that.
No, you cannot. Where are you at on Caleb? Are you a Caleb guy? Are you he can't keep getting away with it? These are like the most improbable outcomes being stacked on top of each other. Because I think there are reasonable people on both sides.
I'm definitely pro Caleb. I mean, obviously, I think when he ever gets to a point, and maybe he never does, where he trusts his eyes as much as he trusts his arm, like the ceiling is going to be crazy, right? Like if those two things ever come together, like this guy is going to be just insane. Like how can we cap him if those two things come together? And this is a young offense, right? Like, we expected this passing game to be the part of this offense that struggled. They invested all their veteran money is tied into the interior offensive line, and then DeAndre Swift. And then all the core pieces on offense in the passing game are all young players. Caleb in his first year in the scheme. Roma Dunze, second-year player. Luther Burden, first-year player. Colson Loveland, first-year player, right? Like, DJ Moore is the most experienced dude that they have in the passing game with Cole Kmet. Like, I think we expected this to be behind the run game. This game, I mean, for both these offenses, these are two teams that create chunk plays. I mean, they're number one and number two in plays per game that gain 10 or more yards. The Rams are number two in 20-plus yard plays. Bears are number four. The Rams defense has been awful the past 7 weeks too. So like, there's definitely upside here for this game to shoot out if there's no weird wonky weather stuff. But when you talk about Caleb, the thing that people just kind of misconstrue is that, like, he's another one of these guys. We talk about Drake Mays. He's one of these guys that big game hunts. So like, he bypasses a lot of plays that could keep them like on schedule or ahead of the sticks.
He has the lowest percentage of throws at or behind the line of scrimmage since they started keeping track of it.
Especially when he's
quarterback with
like,
less. Yeah.
When he's pressured, this is when he wants to like get the big plays, right? Like, he has the lowest drop back rate in the pocket in the NFL when pressured, and then he has the fourth highest depth of target, right? Like, he's trying to extend plays and turn that like into the scramble drill, and then hit big plays downfield. Like, that's just the way he plays. And like, so once he kind of, if he ever does marry kind of both worlds, because Ben Johnson's been open about like not wanting to restrict him. Like, he wants him to be the player he is at his core right now and play football the way he is. And he's already made great strides in sack avoidance, like those negative plays. So like, that's been a huge growth in year two. It's just once he like trusts his eyes a little bit better, right? Like that's when this team is going to like really be in this players, because like they're going to be scary, man. Like, you should feel great even if the Bears lose this game. Like, Bears fans should be ecstatic of the progression they already made in year one in this regime.
I completely agree with everything. I had been struggling to explain with data why Caleb Williams was good and what people were missing. And I actually saw, maybe for the first time ever, I saw a useful and helpful tweet that actually really improved my way of thinking, which is that I think this is a combination of Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams kind of like coming to a eureka moment, which is that Caleb Williams is doing the Steph Curry version of 3 is greater than 2 in the NFL.
Yeah, shoot. What is the quote? Like, shoot 40% from 3.
Shoot 40% from 3 versus 50% from 2. You're going to get more points, because Caleb Williams literally, I mean, this is true. I believe this is the case. Let me pull this up. But I believe he is the lowest completion percentage in the NFL.
Yeah. He's the highest inaccurate target rate too.
Correct. Yeah. So amongst real quarterbacks, he completes 58% of his throws, so he's down with Cam Ward, Dylan Gabriel, JJ McCarthy, Davis Mills, and Shadur Sanders. His success rate obviously is much higher, 42.9%. He also does not take any sacks. I think is 4%. So the only guy who gets sacked less than him is Purdy, Stafford, and Nix. But he still is able to generate really high adjusted yards per attempt, right?
Yeah.
Like better.
And Nix
better
is the
than
opposite.
Lawrence.
Nix is throwing like everything at the line of scrimmage.
Correct. Yes. It literally is this. It's just straight up shooting 2s versus 3s. And we all intuitively understand that with the NBA now because we've gotten used to it. But NFL offenses, Reeves, have gone the other way with this, right?
Yeah.
A lot of what NFL offenses have done in the cover 2 era is take more layups. They're taking more 2s. They're like, give me as many 2s as possible. Let me try and shoot 100 2s versus 50 3s and see if I can get ahead of the math that way. And again, I mean, a lot of this.
The problem is the NFL has a finite number of possessions versus the NBA, and if you're down 21-3 regularly, like you're just not going to win a lot of games in NFL football.
Just eventually,
no, with this defense. The problem with this Bears team though is nothing with the offense. Like we're burying the lead. Like this defense is hot garbage.
Yes. And so the other thing is, the possession game is a lot easier to win in basketball. It's a lot harder to win in football when half of the team is not doing their job. Right. Because very easy to win the possession game against a bad defense because your possession, like your points per possession, which works better in basketball than it does in football, is obviously going to be.
I mean, they might lose that game last week still if, again, the Shanahan coaching tree doesn't botch a timeout, their timeout management.
Oh my God. Okay. LaFleur taking the time. Okay. LaFleur taking the timeout. Well, how about the one he took before the 2-minute drill? I'm watching with like my buddies, like my not nerds, like they're just like casual football watchers or whatever. We're all watching. And I was like trying to explain to them how bad, like he took a timeout to run the ball. I was like, I couldn't. He took a timeout on defense. Oh my God!
They had to take a timeout after an incompletion while the clock was already stopped. Like it was a debacle, man. An absolute debacle. I think the Bears have to have the ball last to win this game.
Yes, yeah. I think that is most assuredly true. Yeah, it's something about the Shanahan.
It's that tree, man. That coaching tree. What the hell it is, man? They're geniuses. They're all so smart. It's
like when you're building a video game character and you have a limited number of points that you can use. So they spent all their skill points on like offensive play calling, offensive play design, and so they didn't have anything left for like time management, game theory, stuff like that. Yeah, Reeves, I'm taking the Bears. I'm actually going to bet the Bears money line. I'm good with taking them with the points as well, but I'm taking the Bears here. Fully acknowledging.
I'm fine taking the Bears with the points. I do think that the Rams win this game though.
The Rams are a better team. But it feels like there's like enough of the contextual stuff.
This version of the Rams are like built to play in the cold too, which we kind of didn't talk about. Like they're totally built to play in the cold. They have a great pass rush and they can line up and run too. And like they can play in the short passing game too. Like everything's gonna be play action. I said, I think they're gonna go back to playing a lot of heavy sets. Like that loss of TJ Edwards, I think is really significant for the Bears defense.
Yeah. It's funny. I mean, it's such a good Kyle Monangai game, but they might be down so quickly that they don't even get a chance to run Big Chungus.
And I love too that the weather is pushing this game under because I mean, if there's just no crazy wind, and that's why I haven't bet it yet because I want to see if it keeps coming down. If there's no crazy wind, I still think this game can blow past the total, even if it's cold.
For sure. All right, Reeves, let's fire a little underdog pick'em entry, and let's see if we can make ourselves some money. Maybe we can do one from every game. Do you have a particular favorite from Buffalo, Denver?
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about two in that game. The one X factor is the Rams have by far the worst special teams in the NFL, and it almost got them last week.
It did.
It almost got them, but they're dead last in EPA special teams. Like that's like the one wild card factor.
Yeah. All right, Reeves, what's your favorite one from Denver and Buffalo? Do you have a favorite?
Probably Khalil Shakir catches.
Khalil Shakir catches. I like that. I mean, that one feels. I like Dalton Kincaid receptions as well. But
I just don't see like how they like Khalil Shakir doesn't have a lot of short receptions in this game.
Yeah, I agree. On the Denver side of that game, I like Harvey. Harvey longest rush. What do we got for 13.5 longest rush? You got an opinion on that one?
No, I'm waiting to see if Alver is back for that game, but yeah, obviously, they're going to try to run the football.
All right, we'll leave that. We'll leave that one.
I don't mind if you like it. Fire it, man.
No, we're because we got a shipper. So I had one from every game last week, and I was 4 for 6 heading into the Patriots game, and then I had Trevion Henderson rush attempts, and then Ramondre Stevenson shows up with his hair on fire. San Francisco at Seattle. I have a couple ones that I like here. Curious your thoughts for this one.
I like K9 longest rush. Charbonnet to score a touchdown.
Charbonnet to score a touchdown, I think is my favorite. I like that one. I also do like longest rush for Walker is 16.5 is a lot.
We gave it out it was 13.5 when we gave it out.
Yeah, see, can't go into the bad number. I want to look at what Tonjes receptions is. 3.5 with a lot of juice. I think we're gonna skip that one. Houston and New England. I like 2.5 receptions for Ramondre. Yeah, for Ramondre.
I have no pushback on it.
Bang. All right. 2.5 receptions for Mr. Mondre Stevenson. And then Rams, Bears. I think a lot of different ways that we could go here. What are your thoughts?
I love both the Rams rushing yards guys. Corum's gotten a little juice and pulled Kyron down, so like maybe Kyron's is a little bit better. It's like hanging around the mid 50s in most spots. Like that, and obviously you can do anything with Nakua.
I tell you what
I do like Caleb, a lot of the Caleb stuff I actually like. I've been waiting to fire on a lot of the passing stuff in this game because of the people people betting it down though too, and it coming down because people getting scared of the weather stuff.
I believe that I have taken Blake Corum
Longest
attempts.
Rush? Yeah.
No, just rush attempts.
Oh.
Every week for like the last I want to say like 8 weeks in a row. Obviously, he did not get it in the Atlanta game because he got banged up, but he has hit the higher on that. So I'm going to do 9.5 rush attempts on Mr. Corum here. And you know what? I am just going to fire a Caleb Williams. I'm going to do 216.5 passing yards. I do think pass attempts also. Ooh, that's funny. They have completion percentage there, 60.5 completion percentage. They know the game there. So that is 5 for us. What kind of boost do we have here in the lobby? Is there no NFL boost right now? We'll have to take a gimme pick. So we'll do Josh Allen rushing yards there. Fire a gimme pick there. Gonna put 20. Oh, I can only put $10 on it. So actually, I'm gonna remove the gimme pick because who needs it? Who needs a gimme?
Who needs it?
Who needs it?
No fun.
All right, there we go. 25 standard American dollars there. Caleb Williams, 216.5 passing yards. Blake Corum, 9.5 rush attempts. Ramondre Stevenson, higher than 2.5 receptions. Zach Charbonnet to score a touchdown. Khalil Shakir, 5.5 receptions. You got anything else going on this weekend other than the worksheet?
No, I wrote up all these games in immense detail so we can touch on something. There's a lot more there. I'll be writing up next week's games in the Super Bowl, and then we'll be moving into Dynasty content. So looking forward to it, man. My son said you're in one of his pods in, I think, DraftKings. I think he said, tell Davis when you go on the show that he said his team is dead. He had Eagles team in that one, so like he's cooked. But he said you were in it when he checked it.
All right. Well, good to know. Good to know I'm in a pool with in a pod with some dead teams. I had a really good first week of playoff best ball because I was higher on the Bears than the Packers.
How did the team that we drafted do? Did it do anything?
You know what?
'Cause we
Honestly,
took Puka.
I guess I'd have to go back and look at exactly what contest it was. I remember I think we did I
I have
think
a
we did
21-year-old son, chat. Like, I don't know what you I'm way older than you guys think. And Davis met him in St.
It's
Louis.
true. It's true. I did. You know what, Reeves? I think the issue was I think we did McMillan and Metcalf as our advance rate pieces on that one, if I remember
Yeah, yeah,
correctly.
yeah.
And they ended up not being advance rate pieces. Both of
No.
them ended up sucking. Coker was the well, really Dubs ended up being the big
Mhm.
advance rate piece overall, and Jordan Love, which is obviously they lost. I mean, the skeleton key to having good teams was to use ETN is your advance rate piece, or to use Dubs as your advance rate piece. So you know, two guys who lost, which
It was a hot week for sprints and best ball playoff. Like, there was high scores, and it was from kind of guys that were kind of unexpected.
yes,
There was
yeah,
700-yard
Parker
receivers.
Washington, yeah,
Yeah, Parker Washington. I think there were 700-yard receivers. Loveland had the most receiving yards. I was like Christian Kirk. Oh no, Christian Kirk did. Because
Christian Kirk.
yeah, it was Coker, Christian Kirk, Parker Washington, Dobbs. Then we had Puka, but yeah, it was some off the wall kind of guys. Then even Matthew Golden was an advance rate piece. Like, if anyone took him, like, the Packers, remember they drafted him in the playoffs.
Dude, I could not figure out what was going on there, because the week before, week 18, he's out there playing in the fourth quarter with Clayton Tune, getting and I'm like, wait, why is Golden? So like I just did a huge update to my dynasty rankings after last week, and I was like, I mean, he's a top 80 player, and he's a first round wide receiver. Dubs is a free agent. Watson is on a 1-year deal. Wicks's contract
Yep.
expires. Like, come on, like, he's got to be. I don't see a way around it. And I was getting some pushback, and I'm like, guys, you don't understand how this works. Like, a literal first round wide receiver just had its best game in the playoffs. You like this you're not a guy. You can't toss him on the pile. But
It was a
I
sick
never
play
know.
too. It was a real
It was a
sick play.
super sick play. Yeah. Yeah. All right, man. Well, let's get out of here. Everyone, make sure that you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for daily fantasy football videos.